Hello again. Thanks for introducing me. My name is Frank Stasi. I'm an architect at ARSP Architects, and we have studios in Innsbruck, Dornbirn, and Stuttgart. But today I'm talking about the LMVM, a tool that is used in Austria to calculate the fees and planning services in order to be able to better classify the topic of today's conference for myself. I asked myself the question, why do the architects actually like doing our works, despite all the stress and hassle, and don't just let it be? So maybe this could be an answer. We are all on a mission. And of course, everyone can decide for themselves what their mission leads to. But each of us seems to see our work as an important contribution to building culture, especially now, or actually in view of the ecological and economical changes. We must ensure that our projects are developed and planned with highest quality. This is the only way we can make our contribution to ensuring that important developments in building culture continue to take place. That's my statement to this point. So if you look at this photo montage, you can see quite strikingly what constitutes the image of the built environment in the public perception. If you think about how long these cultural heritages has existed, the mission becomes even clearer. So in contrast, here you can see what is happening on a large scale everywhere. And unlike the previous slide, this isn't a photo montage. It's the real world. So we are in a dilemma. On the one hand, there's the urge to fulfill the mission, and all forces are mobilized to achieve the goal. On the other side, there are the economic interests, and this applies to both the view from the outside and the view from the inside. So there are actually two sides of the same coin. Okay, this is a press release from big architects regarding to the appointment of Sheila Mayni-Søgaard as the company's CFO. And it illustrates very well how important it is for all our offices to be properly rewarded for our work. Okay, maybe this fuck you, pay me attitude mentioned in the text is very provocative, but it says a lot about the supposedly low appreciation of our work. So we have to think about what should we do now. I personally believe that we architects need to be much more transparent, as we heard before, about our services and with our customers. And we have to talk about our working hours, about the productive ones and also about the unproductive ones. With the system used by the architects in Austria, this transparency can be achieved throughout the entire planning process. So let's have a look about this. The challenge was to create a system that enables an individual and comparable calculation of a project that is, at that point, usually not sufficiently described. The projects differ always in size, complexity, and desired quality. So based on the previous considerations, it seems sensible to describe the services and only then, afterwards, the remuneration. So it's very similar to the things Matthias said before. So the method is divided into these two areas. The Graz University of Technology, you see the logo underneath, has taken over this for the Austrian market. So it's a scientific way to calculate our fees. The chamber, we are architects, only worked on the performance models, and at the moment we are currently are involved in the update process, i.e. like 2023 or something, because this model is from 2014. It's 7 years old. So it's a test phase. So in order to implement the LMVM, the model is already anchored in the project preparation. So on the left side, you see architectural design competitions, Architekturwettbewerbe. And we try as a chamber to implement the standard of the further honoration of our works into the rules for the competition. So you can never get out of it. And also, the contract model is a separate rule book is provided besides the LMVM. And at the same time, all our members receive free training how to use the LMVM. So that's our implementation strategy. So far, the architectural services described related to project phase 2 to 4. You know this, we heard it, it's everywhere the same, I think. In principle, it's from the planning to the handover of the building to operation. Work is currently underway to extend the performance model to project phase 5 accordingly. That means, especially regarding to the BIM or BOOM processes like describe our work in the operation phase of the building. So in this overview, you can see for which areas there are already performance models available. It's not only architecture, it's all the engineers and everything. And we will take a closer look at the area of architecture that's marked in the slide here. So how is the fee calculated in the end? Basics are estimated construction costs. We get it from specific values that you have, or the BKI, or something like that. We can discuss about later, I think. It's an interesting question for the guys in the room. That's the scope of services, the rating points, formulas. We do have 2 formulas. One less than $1 million, one more than $1 million, 2 million, sorry. And if a project is very, very small, less than, say, less than 300,000 euros construction costs, then the billing should be based on the estimated costs, like an hourly wage, and you can estimate the hours you need. That's in the model. Yeah. So we have the same planning phases, like 1 to 9, Matthias mentioned before, and here is framed phase 1, for example, and in general, the customer in our method can either commission the complete service phase or not at all. It's not possible to commission parts of the basic services. Mm-hmm. And the table is generally divided into 2 columns. So on the left side, you can see the basic services, like in the Hawaii, and the optional services on the right side. But you can add something else to the optional services, whatever is demanded. And the optional services can also be calculated according to the basic services can be calculated according to the cost estimate or to the budget or anything else at this moment. So, and on the right side, it's very small. There is 4 or maybe 3 A, B, C, and B is separated into 3 other groups. Let's see if we get it better here. No, it's the calculation scheme. We provide a calculation scheme for the hourly wages due to the principals, architects in 3 stages, and the secretaries and everything else. So this is provided as well, and you use this to calculate the optional services somebody wants from you. So this is all these tables you can have. And all the work phases of the planning and construction supervision are shown in the LMVM, and therefore the original is, that's important, and are therefore the original task of the architect. 1 to 7 are planning, 8 and 9 are site supervision. So the phases 1 to 9 are 100%, as we heard before, and divided according to the following proportions on the left side. It's not always the same amount as in Germany, but more or less. In order to adapt the offers to the respective complexity and office structures, elevation points could be awarded or should be awarded, must be awarded, which are included in the calculation further on. It's diversity and distinctiveness, complexity, risk of realization, dates and cost in general. The higher the points, the higher the requirements. And complexity means not only the complexity in the building, because that is represented by the building cost, I think, but the complexity in the process. Like if your client is a very huge company and has complex structures you have to follow with, it's this complexity is meant by this. Okay, then there's a chart. You can choose this on the left, upper left corner. You can choose this points, complexity, and everything. And on the other four, you can just pick out your description, how's the dates and how's the cost structure and how's the risk of realization. Put it in and add all these extra points to your calculation. And here, oh, yeah, okay. Here you see the Excel spreadsheet is like really accessible for all. You just fill out in the first approach the building costs in the upper side and your points. Then it calculates everything, and in the end, you get out your fees. So there's two examples. The right one is a standard house, and on the left, a university building with conversation and everything. And we just, or I can read it what's written there. In the house, it's the basic costs there are almost 1.3 million, but at least under 2 million as example. And in this house, we'll do the interior design completely, so it's completely on our fee scale. But we do not the garden design. There's some parts mentioned that is not chargeable, like our fees in general, and 7 and 8 other costs that has nothing to do with the building. And the reserves, we have 10% reserves in the project. We put also on 100% chargeable because we think they will probably be used up in the end, so we have it in there. Okay, the middle part I mentioned before is these extra points. And there's one line that's called extra additional points. So what is that? That's the thing with the small project, the single family house or so. The planning is very time consuming, and we are allowed to award 5 extra additional points to that reason. And in the end, we result with a percentage of 12.16% of the estimated building costs for planning and construction supervision for 1.3 million. I can't compare it, but we can talk later on about it. Okay, and there's one line that is very important. It's called hourly pool. So normally there's 0 hours in this line, but the hourly rate is already defined at this point. So this helps us. This helps us to communicate it to the client at this point, at the first approach, and then fix it or fixate it in the contract and put it in, and everything's told. So. The left table shows us a more complex situation. It's 30 million or something building costs for a university project, and you have this used construction that comes fully into the rechargeable costs, and you have all these basis points that are lower than in the end, and you have an extra planning percentage for that that always says if you have heavy injury, sorry, if you have to build everything new in the used construction, you can add extra 25% in the end, so you can fill it in, and we end up with 11% for this 30 million project. That's how we do it. I'm through with this short introduction. If somebody is interested in simulate the process, we can do it later on, maybe. And I have everything with me on my laptop, and it's quite easy. And yeah, that's how we do it. Thank you.